Can somebody for the life of me tell me why Wyatt is still alive? Please. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. And also make sure you click all when choosing the notification. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And check out my YouTube partner BK WorldTube. It's the black Netflix. You get shows like Love and Hip Hop, to this show right here, The Haves and the Have-Nots, and many others. So click on the link in my description box and also in my comment section and go check out BK WorldTube today. Now this is The Haves and the Have-Nots Season 8 Episode 14, and the name of this episode is Someone Special. And just like I said in the intro, for the life of me, why is Wyatt still alive? Because Wyatt is doing the most and I am over Wyatt's ass. Like, somebody please put this junkie out of his misery, because I can't. So let me begin. The episode picks up where it left off, where Hannah comes face to face with Derek. Derek is being held by the police as a suspect, even though we all know Wyatt's junkie ass was the one that kicked in the door and ransacked that house. And, you know, they're asking Hannah, do you know this man? Hannah ain't saying shit. So, to be blunt, Hannah was about to let them take Derek down, because she ain't here for it. And you see, Derek is like, look, I was sent here to board the house. I work for them. Hannah, you know me. She's like, do you really want to talk about who you are? I'm like, and it's just like, it's such a messy scene. But finally the police confirmed that Jim had called him to come over there, that he is the maintenance man. So he was saying that he got work to do, and that's why he's there. So the police takes Hannah upstairs, you know, so she can give a recollection of what was lost and all that. They went to the jewelry, to Catherine's jewelry collection. She's like, oh no, she had way more jewelry than that. And finally, she asked the police to walk her to her car, because she doesn't want to, you know, be in the same space with Derek. And as soon as they passed Derek, she was like, okay, I'm fine now. I'm like, Hannah, that man ain't gonna hurt you. That man had a troubled past, and yeah, he's definitely sketchy at this moment, but he really did like Hannah for real, and he feels immense grief for what he did to her. But Hannah right now ain't hearing that. But as soon as she goes to her car, David's ass show up. And I'm going to say, in this scene, I wanted to beat the crap out of David, because David is still being, you know, Jim's little errand boy, his little step and fetch it, and it's getting tired. See, in this episode, you see why things didn't work out between Veronica and David. You see where David's weaknesses is. You see where David's weaknesses were, and you see where Veronica's weaknesses were. And I'm gonna get to it, you know, when I talk about her ass. But this is why Veronica never respect David, because David is weak as fuck when it comes to Jim, because he comes charging at Hannah like, yeah, Hannah, do you hear me talking to you? She was like, man, do you hear me ignoring you? And he's like, what's going on here? She's like, that's none of your concern. She's like, it is my concern. You know, Jim needs to know. She's like, I ain't telling Jim anything. She's like, you work for Jim. She's like, I don't work for Jim. And he was like, well, if you work for Catherine, you work for Jim. And it'd be wise for you not to choose sides. Really, bro? Because the last time I checked, she the one running everything. Jim has no power or no deed. So little do you know, David, your boy who you running after doing all of his dirty work, don't have anything. That's why he's so hell-bent on getting that inheritance of Wyatt's, because he doesn't have any money. You dumb bastard. Oh, he made me mad in that scene, and she completely blew him the hell off, and he was like, look, you need to tell me something, because police won't tell me anything. She's like, okay, fine, if they ain't gonna tell you nothing, then it is what it is. See ya. Got in her car and pulled off. Then he calls Jim, and then they go back and forth, and he's saying that, well, Hannah was here. I think, she was an emergency contact, so they reached out to her, but she wouldn't tell me anything. Sometimes she can become, somewhat of a bitch, but only when she's being poked. I'm like, yeah. Hannah's not a bitch. I mean, Hannah's annoying as hell, I'll say that. But Hannah's not a bitch. She's not a mean-spirited person. But when you put her in a corner, she's going to come out swinging. And that's exactly what happened. Especially you being Jim's mouthpiece. You weren't there when Jim was being condescending and doing that racial shit, making her call him Mr. Jim. So, David, you have no idea the type of crap that Jim has put Hannah through, and she don't want nothing to do with Jim. But I think the next episode she gonna get her revenge on Jim's ass, and I'm here for it. So that happened. Now down at the police station, after Vinny done shot Officer Norris, they wheel Officer Norris out. Right now he's still alive, but the question is, will he survive? Who knows? But we see that, the female officer, now takes Officer Norris' place. He comes up and is like, look, y'all gonna get my mother out of here? And she's like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, I'm serious. Get my mother out of here. I mean, are you feeling suicidal? Do you want to end your life? Are you trying to die? I'm like, Vinny, are you fucking serious? You just shot one officer and now you trying to take her out? But then Officer Miller came in and did that because he knows that Vinny will kill her ass. And he's like, look, we got everything taken care of and everything. And she was like, look, get my mother out of there. Just get her out of there. So we see Officer Miller go back to talk to Mama Rose. And she was saying that, they go back and forth, and she was saying that, so my son's here? She's like, yeah. And she's saying that, he's saying that, yeah, they're hell-bent on getting you out, and, maybe we need to call the chief. And she's like, oh, the chief? Why haven't you called him? I figured you guys did that already. She's like, no. And then Officer Mills like, no, we didn't do that because he hates it when people call him, when he hated when people call him in the middle of the night. And she was like, oh, if you tell him it's me, he'll take the call. And ask him about his daughter Ashley, and is she doing very well in school? I was like, Mama Rose know every damn body. So he says that, yeah, go talk to the chief, and yeah, I'll be out of here in no time. So Officer Miller goes to do that, and then Mama Rose and Catherine go back and forth. I forgot to mention this in my last episode, like when Catherine called her a gray-haired bitch. That damn Mama Rose was like, the only reason why you don't have gray hair is because you spend too much money on hair dye. And I'm pretty sure if you don't have that hair dye, your ass will be gray as me, bitch. Like, I was here for that. But Catherine's like, oh, so that's what you do? You bully people to get what you want? That's what you're doing? She's like, I don't need to bully anybody. I'm the queen. And she starts going in like, what about your daughter? That crazy bitch killed herself, huh? And then that junkie son of yours? Oh, I'm gonna get my money or Wyatt is done. And Catherine's like, you hurt a hair on my son, that will be the end of your reign. Because she's like, I'm getting out of here. And Mama Rose is like, you ain't getting out of here, girl. She's like, you don't have no idea what I'm capable of. And then Mama Rose was like, well, I guess you need to grab some keys. Because that's the only way you getting out this bitch. So they had that little tit for tat, and I'm like, I'm so here for Catherine and Mama Rose because this is going to be highly interesting of how this plays out. But we saw that go on. Then we get a scene with Candace. Candace calls Benny and asks Benny to come let her in because Hannah done left being an asshole, and she ain't got no way into the house, and she just want to go in and get her stuff. Benny, on the other hand, is trying to go meet up with Mitch because, Mitch got information about Derek. but it's really a false lead. Remember, Candace told Mitch to help throw Benny off because Benny's on a rampage. So down at the Ironbone, we see that Mitch is there and Sandy comes in. Sandy is completely shook. He taking shots and he's like, oh my god, Uncle Vinny just shot an officer. And like Mitch was like, he shot somebody in the police station? He was like, yeah. He's like, I've never seen anything like that. Oh my god, I just don't know what to do. And Mitch told Sandy straight up, like, bruh, you want to walk out here with your chest out flexing the Malone name, but you don't want to put the muscle behind on what that name's about. This is what it is. I told you this is what this life is, bruh. That ain't nothing. There's a whole bunch of shit this family does that you don't know about, but you want to be a part of it so bad, so you gotta take it. Chuck that shit up. And I'm like, okay, I'm with Mitch on this. And it got to the point Sandy, took the bottle from the bartender, was like, I'm just gonna drink this, because he is completely shook. So you racist as hell, you bullying fucking women, but you ain't never popped a gun. You ain't never popped nothing. So you a wankster. Literally. So we saw that go on. Next, I'm going to talk about this whole scene. Jeffrey finally arrives at Madison's, and Justin, a.k.a. Glenn Close, is still standing outside. And I'm like, Justin, you are pathetic, bruh. You're pathetic. Like, you are literally playing these games, and you want a man that don't want you back. And he's like, Jeffrey, what are you doing here? And Jeffrey's like, I'm here to visit my man. He's like, oh, so that's what you're gonna do? You're gonna go be with him? Really? You know, my brother's after me, and, my family wants nothing to do with me. You all I have, and now you don't even want me. And he was like, Justin, like, you belong to me. He's like, dude, I never belonged to you. We're not together. Like, you need to stop this. And then all of a sudden Madison comes out and they kind of like put their arms around each other in front of Justin. But I think a part of Jeffrey is liking the fact that he's making Justin jealous. But I'm like, bruh, Justin right now has nothing to lose, so he's dangerous, and you could possibly be putting Madison in danger. Even though I know Madison can beat the shit out of Justin, Justin is a crazy bitch, so it's no telling what Glenn Close will do. Next thing you know, we'll be seeing rabbits being bowled in pots and shit, knowing Justin. And then all of a sudden they go in and then Madison is like, bye! I'm like, bitch, keep on fucking with him. Your ass gonna end up dead somewhere, Madison. You better calm it down. And, Justin is literally still standing outside. Like, Justin is not leaving. I'm like, bruh, that's sad when you want a motherfucker who don't want you back. It is really sad. So Justin is literally outside just hanging out while Madison and Jeffrey decide to go to bed together and everything. And he's saying that, I'll stay the night with you. And he's like, it's 2 a.m. So it's 2 a.m. in the morning, and, here you got Glenn Close, parking out in front of people's apartments because she's trying to get her black meat. I mean, but hey, just like his father, it's something what they meet. Once they put it on you, you become an addict. So here it is. You got Glenn Close looking like a lost puppy, looking for her black bone to put back in her mouth. Nasty whore. Anyway, so that was going on, and I'm like, this is just sad. So then we get this scene with so we finally see that Benny arrives and lets Candace in, and they in the house talking, and she's like, yeah, I just want to hurry up and get my stuff before she gets back. And then Hannah's like, I'm back, and what the hell you guys doing here? I was like, as much as y'all try to get away from Hannah's ass, Hannah always show up. They go back and forth, and Benny's like, So then they go back and forth. Then Benny starts in like, so what's going on with this Derek guy? Huh? Is he the one that raped you? And all of a sudden we see that Hannah kind of breaks down, but then Candace jumps in. It's like I tried to tell him he's not the one, and all of a sudden Hannah's like, how would he know about this? And then Candace like, well, my generation, we use a little thing called the internet. So, cause she thinking that Candace told Benny. Like, Candace didn't tell Benny anything. Benny followed his own hunch, being online, and he ain't letting it go. And he's like, so that's what this is, huh? He the one that raped you? Cause that's the reason why you don't want to be around him no more, and all of this, and And she pretty much like, look, y'all want to take this man's money. Y'all don't want to do right. You don't want to, and like she's saying, and then y'all had. And then all of a sudden, those guys pulled me out of that restaurant, and Benny said it was for your own good. He's like, both of y'all, what makes you think you know anybody's good? I mean, clearly yours, because if they would have left you there, you would have got fucked up, Hannah. Real talk. So then she's like, y'all need to leave my house or I'm calling the police. And then Benny's like, I'm not going nowhere until you tell me what the hell is going on. And she's like, oh, I'm calling the police. She's like, you know what? I got to follow up something. And then all of a sudden he was leaving. She's like, where you going? She's like, nah, you want me to get out anyway, so don't worry about it. I'm like, oh. So Benny just talking to Hannah like any old kind of way right now. It's like he ain't even listening to her. And then she flips it on Candace like, this is all your fault. Really, Hannah? This ain't her fucking fault. You should just tell Benny the truth, but y'all know what Benny gonna do. So she's covering for your ass, even when you being nasty to her. So Hannah, have several seats, cause you out of line with that. Cause it ain't Candace's fault. What about Benny? It's like Benny gets a pass every time. Benny is just as crazy and is just as ratchet as Candace. Only difference is that Candace is smart. Benny dumb as shit. And that's real. And then she's like, you know what, you need to get your things and get out of my house. All this is because of you and all that. And like, stop blaming Candace for everything, boo-boo. Candace ain't the only one bringing you hell. That son that you always put on a damn pedestal is bringing more hell to your doorstep than she is. Let's keep it 100. So then we get the scene with Veronica. Her and David are in the bed and they are getting it in. And then she's saying, ooh, spoon me, baby, like you used to do. Hey, spoon me, baby, like you used to do. Hey, spoon me, baby, like you used to do. And then while he's spooning her, he whispers, I've always been in love with Hannah. And then we see, it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. It was a dream. And then all of a sudden, Veronica's like, I'm like, boo, you dreaming about getting that David vitamin D, honey. But then again, this is where she screwed up. The reason why, like I mentioned earlier, David screwed up because he was always a wimp when it came to gym. Veronica screwed up with David because due to the fact that you were homophobic to Jeffrey and that you were overzealous about him and Maggie Day, where you literally pushed him into Maggie Day's arms, that's the reason why David ain't there. So y'all both at fault. More so Veronica than David, that is. But boo-boo, if you weren't on your bullshit trying to make your son straight and, killing bitches, because she killed Maggie Day and she killed Erica. I mean, now we know why she killed them bitches. She don't want nobody getting her meat. But here it is, you being a nymphomaniac, you screwing everything that walks. But none of the men you screw are gooder than David. Because I remember when you had sex with RK, you was up watching your wedding video. Who the fuck does that? So this scene shows that Veronica is completely insane. Insane to the membrane. Here we go. So then we see that when Benny left, Benny went to visit Mitch. Mitch gives him this false lead that, yeah, the guy's name is Derek, but it's the wrong Derek and all that. And of course, Benny's like, how the hell you get this information so fast? He's like, look, I know somebody. She's good at it. She always know how to pull records and all that. And you know, we got everything taken care of. And then we also see that Sandy's there too, and Sandy's, you know, turning his nose up because Benny's there. Then finally Mama Rose and Vinny show up, and then Mitch tells Benny, okay, I'm gonna holler at you later and everything, but yeah, you after the wrong guy. You know, he's doing what Candace asked him to do, to throw him off. So Benny leaves, and then we see that Mitch and Mama Rose, you know, they have a good relationship. That's her grandbaby. You know, she's like, hey grandma. He's like, is everything okay? She's like, give me a hug, baby. And it was just so cute. And then she was like, you know, I'm willing to do anything for you, grandma. She's like, well, if you really want to help me, why don't you join the family business? And you see Vinny and you see Sandy like, you know, what was good. And then he was like, I can't do that, grandma. She's like, yeah, I know, I understand, but I'm gonna need you to leave so we can discuss family business. So he gets up, and then all of a sudden Sandy's like, yeah, hey, don't bring that black boy up in here no more, Eva. Mitch looked and said, watch your mouth in front of your grandmother, you racist piece of shit. I was like, okay, Mitch, you better tell Sandy what's up. You up here, you want to get all tough and everything, but your ass can't even pop a bullet. Your punk ass. You little racist. You're a racist wankster. You straight up bitch made. Sandy, you need to sit your ass down. So we see that Mama Rose and Mitch talk, and pretty much she missed that. Oh yeah. I'm about to go to Florida, and she's gonna make Vinny the head of the operation. And she says, you keep the heat on, and you already know Vinny's about it. Vinny is bloodthirsty, and Vinny is vicious. So him at the helm, it's gonna be some shit. So I'm like, damn, you turned it over to the wrong person, Mama Rose, because he gonna make a mess of shit. I just know it. But then she's like, oh yeah, I forgot about something. You know, Catherine Cryer was at my jail cell, and she decided to make war against me. Oh yeah, she talked about the $75,000 that they paid for Wyatt, and he was like, $75,000? They only gave me $50,000. And he's like, oh, and she's like, oh really? So now Vinny's head's starting to spin, like, where the rest of the money come from? You actually got the full $75,000. He just gave you 50 for Wyatt and the other 25 for Benny. But he already saying that, nah, something ain't right with that, because why didn't I get the full 75? You actually did, Vinny. You just didn't get it the way you thought you got it. That's all. But then she's like, oh yeah, this bitch want to make war against me. I told her I want $1 million or that son of hers is dead. And I told her she got 24 hours. Put the heat on that. And he's like, oh yeah, you know I want that. Yeah, because he want to fuck up Wyatt, because Wyatt, you know, damn near killed him. So he ain't going to let that go, because Vinny wants blood, as I said. So all of a sudden we see that go on. We see Wyatt's junkie ass in that nice ass car going to the hood trying to find some heroin. He got these two dealers that he's talking to. He tried to give up this watch, and he said, and like he pretty much says, yeah, that's like worth about $40,000. And he gave it to his boy, and he's like, look at this. He's like, nah, that shit fake. I'm like, hey, rich people wear fake jewelry too, honey. You know, all that glitters ain't gold. And he's like, that's $40,000, man. Come on, man. Come on. Like, come here, send me something. And they trying to tell Wyatt, get the hell up out of here. You got this expensive ass car. You don't need to be seen around here, bro. You making yourself a target. But Wyatt don't fucking care, because Wyatt is a junkie from hell. Then you see him trying to grab the dudes, trying to take drugs from him and shit, you know. And then all of a sudden she's like, yo, dude, you need to get the hell up out of here, bro. What you doing? And they going back and forth. And then finally we see Raj show up. Remember, Raj was the girl that's a friend of Alyssa's that worked at the club that told Benny about Derek. So she show up, and, you know, pretty much she's kind of like the queen pin of this crew. And they let her know, like, hey, you know, it's your call. We trying to tell this dude no, but he won't go away, and he got all this jewelry and shit, and we let his ass, and they did let him know, if you know, the only place that's cashing in jewelry is the Iron Bone. And he's like, oh no, I can't go there. I can't go there. Oh really? You can't? You out here doing all this shit? you think you just gonna give up jewelry and people just gonna give you drugs? It don't work like that, bruh. But then Raj decides to take control, and she's like, show me what you got. and he showed her this ring. And then he was like, you got anything? And she's like, oh yeah. She just gives him the drugs. And I'm like, now come on now, Tyler. Now we know when it comes down to drugs, you always get the money up front before you give up the product. She gave him the product and then she's like, ain't you gonna give me the ring? And then she gave her the ring. She's like, ooh, this is nice. And then Wyatt was about to shoot up right. And she's like, oh, no, bro, you can't do this around here. You need to drive somewhere. He's like, okay, fine. He gets out the car, lets her drive so he can shoot up. And quiet as kept, Raj got that car now, because the next thing you know, next time we see Wyatt is high as shit. And he's going right into the iron bone, high as hell, trying to exchange jewelry. And Vinny and Sandy are literally, because before Wyatt showed up, Vinny and Sandy was talking, and Vinny is on that $50,000, $75,000 situation. He's like, something about that ain't right. I'm gonna get to the bottom of that. So now it's gonna put him in heat with Mitch. And Vinny and Mitch, even though he's been trying to keep Vinny calm, now Vinny's now the head. Oh, it's gonna really become an issue between Vinny and Mitch. I already see it coming. But then all of a sudden they get an Easter egg, because Wyatt walks up in there high as a kite trying to exchange jewelry and literally sits right next to Sandy. He was like, oh, this night just got even better. Look at this. So Wyatt is now back into the enemy's clutches, and if they kill him, I'm all for it, because Wyatt's dumb as shit, and I'm getting sick of his good-for-nothing junkie ass. So, that's what I have, y'all. Get down in those comments and let me know your thoughts on this episode, because this shit was crazy. So, until next time, everybody, take care.